How you doing everyone? I hope you've been enjoying Wanted Dead as much as I have. I reviewed this game last week and you can find the link to that video review of this future cult classic in the description. I just completed a game on Japanese hard difficulty the other day and thought I'd share some easy to follow, sometimes cheesy tips that helped me to get through the challenge. I'm not particularly highly skilled at the game, so if I can do it, then I'm sure most of you can too, because none of these strategies require much effort. The bad news is that you will need to get capable at parrying and pistol counters. That's just unavoidable with a handful of enemies, but my tips should at least get you to those encounters with enough stim packs and health to allow you a few mistakes. I wrote these tips based on Japanese hard mode, but they also apply to all other difficulty settings. With that said, let's get on with it. Headshots are king. I know this one sounds obvious, especially if you've played any other video game in your life. But please be patient because the rest of my tips will be more effective with this point in mind. It seems like most of the tougher enemies like ninjas, armored brutes and bosses are immune to bullets at first. But that's only true if you're spraying bullets into the chest. Even in Japanese hard mode, tougher enemies will go down in just a few burst shots to the head. You should work towards a rifle build similar to mine that prioritizes accuracy, damage, armor piercing and stopping power. Recoil isn't that big of a deal since we only want to shoot in small bursts, and reload time can be handled by a perk upgrade. If you want to make extra certain that you're not spraying too hard, press up on the D-pad to switch to semi-automatic mode. I found the SMG and LMG more helpful as secondary weapons than the shotgun because even though the shotgun is superb at short ranges, the other guns allow you to snipe away with headshots slowly, and they essentially acted as an extension of Stone's rifle. When you get skilled at the game and you're happy to switch in some shooting between katana swipes, the shotgun shines. You can also combine your weapons with bullet time aiming and katana combos, but those are more advanced techniques and aren't strictly needed to complete the hardest mode in a game. Hannah Stone's teammates are more useful than you think. And no, this isn't a tip about running for cover every time you hear that magic word. Grenade! They make decent tanks, and this is especially important on the harder difficulties. When the ninjas come running out, on most occasions you can retreat and wait for the team to take aggro. This means that they will shoot at enemies and draw attention to themselves and their infinite health pools until you take that attention away by firing shots of your own. You should take this precious time to build some distance and aim for the head. It takes several headshots to kill a ninja, and if you've got the right loadout on your rifle, you should be able to kill them or at least do a lot of damage before they reach you. When going for headshots on ninjas, it's best to wait for them to take a swipe at your guys first before you shoot. They're usually standing quite still after making these attacks and long enough for you to get in a good hit, because the moment you engage them, they'll lock onto you with murder on the mind. Take your time, line up your aim, and only engage when necessary. If you know there's a group of aggressive enemies coming up, you can throw an incendiary grenade to store them or keep them in place. This allows you enough time to aim and do enough damage before they start charging you. If you do this well, you can kill them without having to take your sword out at all. This works well for nearly every enemy except the top tier ninja and armored brutes, as they will make every effort to charge you. So you're going to have to rely on parrying for these guys. Although there are certain situations where you can get them stuck on the environment and pick them off slowly. This doesn't work at every checkpoint, but you can actually return to the drones for that sweet health and ammo refill if they're still floating about. You can't activate them if there are enemies alive though, so clear out the wave before returning to check if they're open for business. Approach them and look for the R3 prompt. This indicates that you can use them again. If you use this exploit wisely, you can clear out a few enemy waves and end up with full ammo and stim packs to get you to the next checkpoint much easier. This particular drone in the final level allows you to interact with it up until the very end of that zone, which is really helpful because there's an armored brute, a white ninja and countless other ninjas waiting for you in this stretch. To avoid any potential mistakes, don't release the block button if you jump the gun and miss a parry. You might come in a bit early when the enemy hasn't taken a swipe yet and be tempted to release the block button to try again, but this is usually very risky and could end up in death. If you miss the parry, just hold on and block instead and attempt to parry the next attack in the combo string. The Guard Strength Increase upgrade will give you some much needed support for this, as it allows you to block 2 attacks if you miss the parry. Fighting the tougher enemies like ninjas and bosses with the katana seems quite difficult at first, and you might be tempted to keep your distance. You know what I'm about to say if you watched my review, but the easiest way to victory is to stay close and spam the attack button. It's just like the Genichiro boss fight in Sekiro. You need to keep doing this until they block your attacks. You can usually get in 4 strikes or 8 if you're lucky. They should block after this, and that's when it's their turn. Most enemies will start off with 2 easy strikes for you to parry, and then either a red attack or 2 to 3 quick strikes. If you have your bullet time desperation move ready, you can wait until it's their turn to attack, and when they do, just activate the ability and it's your turn to strike again. Following this general strategy of staying close and attacking until it's your turn to defend will get you through all of the tougher enemies and bosses. So there you have it. Those are the 5 easy tips to get you through Japanese hard mode. They should get you through most of the game, or at least give you enough of a safety net to build your confidence. As I mentioned earlier, there are some encounters you just can't avoid, but these tips should at least get you to those tough spots easier. I hope you found this video useful. Please give it a like if you got any value out of it, and feel free to share any tips you might have in the comments below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content about gaming and tech.